All right, let's dive right into one of the most intense, mind-bending parts of the Durvilla mythos, the Labyrinth of Masks parable. This story is all about a massive philosophical shift for our hero. It's about him going from desperately trying to hold the world together to just letting it burn, embracing the beautiful, chaotic, and fiery flow of existence.
So let's start with the question that sits right at the heart of this whole thing. What if the only way to actually save the world was to burn it all down? It's a terrifying choice, isn't it? You're basically choosing between a perfect, frozen, static piece on one side and a chaotic, messy, but fiery life on the other.
And that's exactly the journey we're going on in this explainer. We're going to follow our protagonist, Durwille, as he stares down this impossible choice. And trust me, the transformation he goes through is absolutely profound.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. We'll start with the thesis, which is kind of the world as it is, this idea of the glass coffin. Then we'll get into the opposing force, the antithesis, or the feast of apathy. And finally, we'll see what happens when these two smash together in a wild synthesis, leading to the climax.
First up, the glass coffin. So our story kicks off in Naples, and you really have to picture this place as a city of total contradictions. On the surface, it is just buzzing with life, a wild, frantic carnival. But underneath all that noise and chaos, something is deeply, horribly wrong. There's a frozen stillness, a kind of hidden death that's threatening to swallow everything whole.
Yeah, this slide really nails that split personality. On one hand, you've got the Labyrinth of Masks, this wild street party that's all about rejecting boring, static order. But on the other hand, at the city's spiritual heart, the famous miracle of St. Januarius has failed. His blood, which is supposed to liquefy, has stayed a dry, black clot. It's this perfect, awful symbol of total stagnation.
And that clot? It's the physical anchor for this whole philosophy called the glass coffin. The idea here is that life is only perfect, only divine when it's totally finished, motionless, dead. It's a seriously tempting idea, right? The promise of ultimate peace. But the price is everything that makes life, well, life.
But just when you think a frozen, perfect death is the biggest problem, something else creeps in from the shadows. Something worse. This new threat isn't interested in preserving life in a glass coffin. No, it wants to just erase it. It's the creeping void, the antithesis of everything.
The big bad here is a thing called Atman Null, and the terrifying thing about it is that it doesn't eat flesh and blood. It eats telos. It eats purpose. It's not after your body, it's after your why. It's a parasite that just drains the world of all its meaning.
So, what does this look like? Well, it shows up as this thick gray mist, this semiotic veil that just rolls in and blurs all the edges of reality. Imagine a world where words don't mean anything anymore, where a hug is just pressure and heat, not affection. That's the world Atman Null creates, a world with no meaning behind it. And as this mist seeps into that vibrant carnival, a chilling silence just falls. The partiers, who were so full of energy, they just stop. The dancing, the laughing, it all just ends. They actually choose the empty peace of the mist over the hard work of being alive. The carnival is about to become a silent tomb.
So you're faced with two horrible choices: freeze to death in a perfect coffin or fade away into a meaningless mist. Durvilla realizes he has to find a third way, a radical option that goes beyond both of these grim fates.
See, his old playbook, this thing called the Fichtian grip, it's useless now. His whole philosophy used to be about his own will imposing order on reality, literally holding it together. But you can't just hold on tighter when the world is either freezing solid or dissolving into nothing.
And then it hits him. The answer isn't to hold on, it's to let go. He realizes that to save life, he has to embrace its wild, chaotic, ever-changing nature. He has to become the fire that melts everything down to its core so it can be reforged. And right there, in that moment, he is reborn. He sheds his old self and becomes the Red Architect. He's no longer a preserver, he's an agent of what's called Dionysian fluidity, that raw, creative, chaotic energy that drives the endless cycle of life, death, and renewal.
So where does he go? To Mount Vesuvius, of course, the fiery heart of it all. But he's not doing this alone. He gets help from Pan, the primal spirit of the wild, and Donner, the god of thunder. Together, they're about to unleash a storm that will literally shake the foundations of reality.
All right, here we go. This is the climax. And you have to understand, this isn't some random act of destruction. This is a carefully planned ritual. It's a symphony of creation and destruction designed to completely reshape the world. It all happens in 3 precise steps. First, Derville gives the signal. Then, Donner strikes the mountain with his hammer. And bam! Vesuvius erupts. But this is no ordinary eruption. This is a metaphysical fire, a fire of the soul that's going to incinerate the old world to make way for the new. And get this, what comes pouring out of Vesuvius isn't lava. It's described as violet gamma radiation, which is just a stand-in for pure, unfiltered will to power. It's the raw energy of creation itself, made visible. And this fire of pure will gets the job done. That stagnant, clotted blood of the past, it's instantly liquefied. That gray mist of apathy, it's completely burned away. The city's safety is destroyed, yes, but it's reborn from the ashes, more alive and stronger than it ever was before. Standing right there, in the heart of this inferno, Derville makes his choice. He screams no to the cold comfort of the glass coffin and embraces the fire. He shouts, "Once more!" It's this incredible, defiant cry of joy right in the face of oblivion. And that shout, that's amor fati, the love of fate. It's this powerful idea that you can look at your life, all of it, the joy, the suffering, everything, and say, yes, I choose this. I would do it all again forever. So in the end, that's the choice it all boils down to. Do you embrace the chaotic, beautiful, and often painful dance of the carnival? Or do you retreat into the cold, silent peace of the coffin? The parable doesn't give us the answer. It just asks us the question.
And that's the question I want to leave you with. Which is actually more terrifying? The suffering that comes with a chaotic life, or the absolute peace that comes with non-existence? The Labyrinth of Masks doesn't offer any easy answers, just a challenge to live, to love your fate, and to keep dancing, even when you're staring into the abyss.